Hello, welcome to today's class, and we'll start the new unit, that is AC circuits, or simply alternating currents, circuits utilizing alternating currents. As a beginning, we'll start with AC through resistance, inductance and capacitance. Along with this, we also see the J operator and use of complex numbers, complex variables in solving alternating currents. So let us see AC through resistance. As shown in the topmost figure, you will find that a resistance R is connected across AC voltage source V equal to Vm sin omega t. Current I flows through the resistance. It is again the current through the whole circuit, and voltage dropped across the resistance is equal to Vr, and it is simply equal to IR, current through the resistance and resistance. Now applied voltage is Vm sin omega t, and it is developed across the whole voltage is developed across the resistance R, since resistance R is the only component. So we can equate Vm sin omega t with IR. So Vm sin omega t is equal to IR. Naturally, I is equal to Vm upon R into sin omega t. So Vm upon R is again the current, and let us call it as Im, which is maximum value of current, and it is possible when omega t is equal to pi by 2 radians or 90 degree. Then equation 2 says that I is equal to Im if omega t equal to pi by 2 radians. If we compare equation 2, that is current Im sin omega t through the resistance, with equation 1, that is voltage of the source, that is Vm sin omega t, we will find that the phase angle is same, and that is equal to omega t. Thus we can say that there is no phase change between voltage and current. That means voltage V and current I are in phase. Same we have shown in the lower figure, where solid line represents voltage V while dotted line represents current I. Remember that magnitude of the current, maximum value of the current is reduced. So Im is less than Vm, since it is the effect of resistance, and mathematically Im is equal to Vm upon R. So when AC voltage is applied across a resistance, then current through the resistance and AC voltage are in phase, or no phase change between voltage and current through the resistance or AC. Now next, it is inductance or AC through inductance. As shown in figure, we have took one coil whose self-inductance is capital L, and it is connected across AC voltage source small v equal to Vm sin omega t. Sin omega t. Okay. Now, what happens when AC voltage is applied to an inductance? Then back EMF is produced across the inductance or across the inductance of the coil. This back EMF is the voltage that opposes the rise or fall or change of current through the coil. Interesting, because the current, due to current flowing through the inductance, the EMF known as back EMF is developed across the inductance, and the same EMF is opposing the further rise of the current. Okay, so this back EMF we have to consider. So accordingly, voltage across inductance, it is equal to L, capital L, value of self inductance, and into di by dt, that is rate of change of current through the inductance. So since inductance is the only component, that means we can equate the EMF developed across inductance as equal to voltage of the source, AC voltage of the AC source. So we can write Vm sin omega t equal to L into di by dt, from which we can write di equal to Vm upon L into sin omega t dt. From di we can obtain I simply by integrating. So after integrating, we find that Vm by L can be taken out of integration since it is independent of time. So in integration we have sin omega t dt only. So which is, what is integration of sin omega t? It is minus cos omega t upon omega. Okay, component of t. Okay, so in this way we have minus cos omega t, and minus cos omega t is simply equal to sin omega t minus pi by 2. Okay, so it is explained in the last line that minus cos omega t is equal to sin omega t minus pi by 2. Now what about current I? It is equal to Vm upon omega L into sin omega t minus pi by 2. Okay, so Vm upon omega L can be written as Vm upon XL. So we can write Vm upon XL into sin omega t minus pi by 2, where Vm upon XL will be a maximum current Im, maximum value of current small I, that is Im, if omega t minus pi by 2 is equal to 0. Sorry, is equal to pi by 2. Omega t minus pi by 2 is equal to pi by 2. So it is the maximum value of current which is equal to Vm upon XL. So we have voltage across voltage applied by the source, that is equal to Vm sin omega t, and current flowing through the inductance L, that is equal to Im sin omega t minus pi by 2. Now compare the equations. You will find that current I has phase less than voltage V by pi by 2 radians. Okay, voltage V has phase angle omega t, while current has phase angle omega t minus pi by 2. Okay, that means current lags behind the applied voltage by phase of pi by 2 radians, that means 90 degree. The same is explained in this figure. We will find that the solid line represents V equal to Vm sin omega t, that is voltage of this applied by the AC source, while dotted line I equal to Im sin omega t minus pi by 2 represents current flowing through the inductance, and you will find that current I lags behind voltage V by angle of pi by 2 radians, or simply 90 degree. Now here we have obtained Im equal to Vm upon XL, where XL equal to omega L, and this omega L plays part of resistance, and it is called as inductive reactance of the coil. So this is the new term we have obtained, that is doing the job of resistance, and it is called as inductive reactance. So inductive reactance or reactance of the inductance, that is equal to omega L, where L is self-inductance. The unit of XL is ohm, that is same as unit of resistance. If omega is in SI unit, that is radians per second, and L is in Henry, That is again SI unit of inductance. So thus we find that when AC voltage is applied to an inductance, then current through the inductance lags behind the voltage by pi by 2 radians or 90 degree. Let us see AC through capacitance. As shown in the figure here, a capacitor of capacitance C, it is actually a parallel plate capacitor, is connected across a voltage source, AC voltage source, V equal to Vm sin omega t. Current I flows through the capacitor. Due to current I flowing through the capacitor charges in one direction and discharge exactly in the opposite direction. During the charging or during discharge, the charge developed across the capacitor is supposed to be Q, that is charge at any instant or instantaneous charge on the capacitor, and this charge Q is simply written as capital C into V, voltage across the capacitor, that is Vm sin omega t. So charge or instantaneous charge across the capacitor, it will be Q equal to C into V equal to C into Vm sin omega t, where C is capacitance. Now, but the current I is we can obtain current I from the charge Q, and what is the relation between current I and charge? That current I is rate of flow of charge. So that means I is simply equal to dq by dt. We have obtained Q, and that is CVm sin omega t. So d by dt of CVm sin omega t. We have simply substituted value of Q. C and Vm, these are independent of time t, constant quantities we taken out of differentiation. So we have to differentiate sin omega t only, and differentiation of sin omega t is equal to cos omega t into omega. So in this way we find I equal to omega c into Vm into cos omega t. So we can write the same equation as Vm divided by 1 by omega c which was in the multiplication. Now we can write it as denominator 1 by omega c into cos omega t. Now we have equation I equal to Vm divided by 1 by omega c into cos omega t. Now cos omega t it can be written as cos omega t plus pi by 2, since cos theta equal to sin 90 plus theta. Okay, in radians it is pi by 2 plus theta, that means pi by 2 plus omega t. So cos omega t is written as sin omega t plus pi by 2, and in this way we have I am equal to sin omega t plus pi by 2. Now what is I am? It is Vm upon 1 by omega c, or simply Vm upon xc. It is the maximum value of current, okay, through the capacitor. Now here we have obtained the new quantity xc, that is equal to 1 by omega c, and what is it? It is called as capacitive reactance or reactance of the capacitance. And again it will be in ohms. It is playing the same role as that was played by resistance. So it is in ohms if capacitance C is in farads and omega is in SI unit, that is radians per second. So in this way current through the capacitor is given as I am equal to sin omega t plus pi by 2, while voltage applied is given by Vm sin omega t. In this way we can say that the difference is that current is not omega t, but the phase of the current is not omega t, but it is omega t plus pi by 2. That means current through the capacitor leads the voltage by a phase of pi by 2 radians or 90 degree. Same is shown in the figure. The Vm P equal to Vm sin omega t and I equal to Im sin omega t plus pi by 2 are shown, and we'll find that I is leading the voltage by pi by 2 radians. So, in this way, we can summarize that when AC voltage is applied to a resistance, then there is no lag or lead between current through the resistance and voltage applied. When AC voltage is applied across an inductance, then current lags behind the AC voltage applied. On the other hand, when AC voltage is applied across the capacitance, then the current leads the AC voltage by a phase of pi by 2 radians. So, the phase change between voltage and current for inductance is exactly opposite to the capacitance. In case of inductance, current lags the voltage, while in case of capacitance, current leads the voltage by the same phase, that is pi by phase difference, that is pi by 2 radians or 90 degree. Okay. Now, let us see. After introducing the two new quantities which has units of resistance, that is inductive reactance and capacitive reactance, let us look at how the reactance and resistance in union can be represented. And for this we use analogy of a complex number. We are familiar with complex numbers. A complex number can be represented as C equal to A plus IB. Here A is called as real part, B is called as imaginary part, and I is known as imaginary number whose value is square root of minus 1. Similarly, the vector quantities in AC circuits are the complex quantities and can be represented as, for example, vector E1 equal to A1 plus JB1. Now, what is the difference? So, here also the same analogy we have used, but the difference is that in complex number we use I, here we are using J. Okay, there A was real part, here A1 is active part. There B was imaginary part, here B1 is called as reactive part. Active part, reactive part. Okay, and there it was I, here it is J. There it is known as imaginary number, here it is called as operator J. Okay, the operator J here represents that A1 is perpendicular to B1, active part is perpendicular to reactive part. So, important thing is that here A1 and B1 are not the like terms. They cannot be treated as identical terms as per as their physical significance and everything is concerned. They are different. So, look at the graph here. We have represented E1 equal to A1 plus JB1 on the graph, and you will find that A1 and B1 are perpendicular to each other. And angle made by E1 with the x-axis is theta. Okay, so E1 equal to A1, that is active part along x-axis, plus J, operator J into B1. B1 is reactive part and that is represented along y-axis. Similarly, we can write vector E2, and what is active part of vector E2? It is minus A2. So minus A2, since it is negative towards negative size of the negative direction of the x-axis. So it is minus A2. And what about reactive part? It is plus B2. So it is minus A2 plus JB2. So this is E2, vector E2. Similarly, what about vector E3? It has active part minus A3 and reactive part B3. So minus A3, reactive part minus B3. So it is minus A3 minus JB3. What about E4? It has active part plus A1 plus A4, while reactive part as minus b4. So e4 equal to vector e4 equal to a4 minus jb4. Now remember very well that vector e1 can be represented as a complex quantity a1 plus jb1, where j is known as operator j, and the numerical value or magnitude of vector e1 is written as square root of a1 square plus b1 square. It is the way in which we write the modulus of a complex number, that is a square, square root of a square plus b square. So magnitude or numerical value here again same as the modulus of a complex number. And what is the angle made by vector with x-axis? That is theta here as shown in this figure, and that is equal to tan inverse of b1 upon a1, that is tan inverse of reactive part upon active part. It is one and same as in case of complex number. It is argument that tan inverse of b upon a. So here it is the angle made with the x-axis, that is tan inverse of b1 upon a1. So this is about complex number and j operator. So in this way we must know that a complex quantity may occur as a vector quantities in AC circuits, and they can be represented as A plus JB. A is active part, B is reactive part, and J is called as operator J, which has same significance as that of I in the complex number. Now we have seen that J simply represents that A and B are perpendicular to each other. More precisely, we can say that J represents counterclockwise rotation of a vector through 90 degree. When J is applied on a vector, that means vector is simply rotated in anti-clockwise direction, okay, by 90 degree or pi by 2 radians. And the magnitude of J is square root of -1. It is same as I. Okay, magnitude of I, imaginary number in complex numbers. Now what is double operation of J? So please look at the figure here. So JE is perpendicular to E. When E is rotated in anti-clockwise direction by 90 degree or counterclockwise direction 90 degree, then we obtain JE. And what about J square? It will be J into J, or simply square root of -1 square, it will be -1. And as far as rotation is concerned, it is the counterclockwise rotation by 180 degree. That means it reverses a direction, and therefore J square has a magnitude -1. So it represents that direction is reversed. You can see here in figure also vector E and vector J square E equal to -E. So when E is rotated through 90 degree, 180 degree counterclockwise, we came to J square E, which is equal to -E. That means same vectors but in opposite directions. What about J cube E? It will be equal to J into J square E. So J square is -1, so it is minus JE. That means opposite to JE, or simply when E is rotated counterclockwise by 273 degree. What about J4E? It will be J into J cube E. That means J cube E is equal to -J. So J into -J equal to -J square, and J square is equal to -1. So minus into -1 into E. So this is plus E. So it is plus E. Here on the slide it has been wrong. So it is plus E. That means rotation of vector E counterclockwise 360 degree. That means same as vector E. Okay, because rotation of a vector through 360 degree means it is the same vector. So same is represented here. What about 1 by J? Simply multiply and divide it by J. You will find J by J square. It will be J upon J square. That means J upon -1, value of J square. So it is equal to -J. So 1 by J is simply written as -J. So in this way we can summarize the lecture as we have seen AC through resistance, inductance and capacitance, and we will find that there is no phase change between current and voltage in case of AC through resistance, while current lags behind by pi by 2 radians in case of inductance, and current leads voltage by pi by 2 radians in case of capacitance. And we have seen that the complex numbers can be applied in case of AC circuits, and we observe that simply I we have to change by J. There we call it as real part, imaginary part. Here we call A as active part, B as reactive part. J simply represents that it is called as J operator or operator J. It simply represents that A and B are perpendicular on the graph, two perpendicular component, that is x component and y component of a vector. And J simply represents J when operator J when operated on a vector, it represents rotation of a vector by pi by 2 radians or 90 degree. So thank you. With this we conclude today's session. Thank you for your patience and thank you for listening. With this we conclude. Thank you very much.